Top 30 Iconic Quotes Movie Lincoln, 2012, Part 2. Lincoln, 2012. Directed by Steven Spielberg and starring Daniel Day-Lewis, is a powerful historical drama that portrays the final months of President Abraham Lincoln's life as he fights to pass the 13th Amendment and abolish slavery. The film explores the political maneuvering, moral dilemmas, and personal struggles that defined this crucial moment in American history. Daniel Day-Lewis delivers a masterful performance as Lincoln, depicting him as both a brilliant strategist and a deeply compassionate leader. The film highlights his ability to navigate political opposition, persuade reluctant congressmen, and maintain his resolve despite immense challenges. Tommy Lee Jones shines as Thaddeus Stevens, a radical Republican congressman who fiercely advocates for equality, while Sally Field portrays Mary Todd Lincoln, offering insight into the emotional toll of war and leadership on Lincoln's family. Filled with powerful speeches and intense debates, Lincoln captures the weight of history in motion. Quotes like, "The fate of human dignity is in our hands," and, "With malice toward none, with charity for all," embody Lincoln's vision. The film is a testament to leadership, perseverance, and the enduring fight for justice, making it one of the most compelling historical dramas ever made. Abraham Lincoln. It was right after the Revolution, right after peace had been concluded, and Ethan Allen went to London to help our new country conduct its business with the King. The English sneered at how rough we are and rude and simple-minded and on like that everywhere he went. Till one day he was invited to the townhouse of a great English lord. Dinner was served, beverages imbibed, time passed as happens, and Mr. Allen found he needed the privy. He was grateful to be directed to this. Relieved, you might say, Mr. Allen discovered on entering the water closet that the only decoration therein was a portrait of George Washington. Ethan Allen done what he came to do and returned to the drawing room. His host and the others were disappointed when he didn't mention Washington's portrait. And finally his lordship couldn't resist and asked Mr. Allen had he noticed it, the picture of Washington. He said he had. Well, what did he think of its placement? Did it seem appropriately located to Mr. Allen? And Mr. Allen said it did. The host was astounded. Abraham Lincoln. And quote, appropriate. George Washington's likeness in a water closet, and quote. Abraham Lincoln, and quote. Yes, and quote, said Mr. Allen, and quote, where it will do good service. The world knows nothing will make an Englishman shit quicker than the sight of George Washington, and quote. Abraham Lincoln. I love that story. Thaddeus Stevens. How can I hold that all? Men are created equal when here before me stands, stinking, the moral carcass of the gentleman from Ohio. Proof that some men are inferior, endowed by their maker with dim wits, impermeable to reason, with cold, pallid slime in their veins instead of hot, red blood. You are more reptile than man, George, so low and flat that the foot of man is incapable of crushing you. George Pendleton. How dare you? Thaddeus Stevens. Yet even you, Pendleton, who should have been gibbeted for treason long before today, even worthless, unworthy, you ought to be treated equally before the law. And so again, sir, and again and again and again, I say, I do not hold with equality in all things, only with equality before the law. Nothing more. Abraham Lincoln, Daniel Day-Lewis. The fate of human dignity is in our hands. We are stepped out upon the world's stage now, with the fate of human dignity in our hands. Do you think we choose the times into which we are? Born. Or do we fit the times we are born into? I am the President of the United States of America, clothed in immense power. I could write shorter sermons, but when I get started, I get too lazy to stop. A compass, I learned when I was surveying. It'll point you true north from where you're standing, but it's got no advice about the swamps and deserts and chasms you'll encounter along the way. Slavery is the only thing that ever threatened to destroy America. The most reliable way to predict the future is to create it. I can't spare this man, he fights. We must think anew, and act anew. Thaddeus Stevens, Tommy Lee Jones. The greatest measure of the 19th century was passed by corruption, aided and abetted by the purest man in America. Trust. Gentlemen, you seem to have forgotten that our chosen career is politics. How can I hold that all men are created equal when here before me stands, stinking and dripping with impudence, the moral carcass of the gentleman from Ohio? The people elected me to fight for them, not the Almighty. I do not hold with equality in all things, only with equality before the law. Mary Todd Lincoln. Sally Field. No one's ever been loved so much by the people. Do not waste that power. All anyone will remember of me is that I was crazy and ruined your happiness. You have always underestimated me, Mr. Stevens. We will be remembered. We're all of us history now. You think I'm ignorant of what you're up to because you haven't discussed this scheme with me as you ought to have done. Secretary of State William Seward, David Strahan. We're whalers. We see the harpoon coming, and we dive. Do you need to get this done before they arrive in order to defeat them, or merely to gain a better bargaining position in order to defeat them? How many votes do we have? We're counting on your iron will to bend them our way. The Democrats don't want to end slavery. They want to keep their heads down until the war ends, and then let the South have it back.